Government complete, right?
Hello, am I audible?
Oh yeah, yes you are.
Okay, I will set my timer first. Wait. Okay. For PI preference, just unmute yourself because I won't be really seeing the chats. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Living in a world where trends constantly change throughout the year, fashion is definitely one of them. We stand on this motion to choose leave the fast fashion system. First of all, what is fast fashion? The concept of how fast fashion works is, first of all, it is made cheap for people to keep purchasing clothes as the trends, as I already said, how the trends is constantly changing. So people would keep buying it, but what we are trying to engage here in our side of the house is that panels, how it actually brings harms to the environment. First, our goal. In our side of the house, our goal, we are trying to achieve sustainability. Sustainability is the key to a better future. Humans rely on natural resources for business. For business activities and survival, sustainability to improve the quality of our lives, protects our ecosystem, and preserves natural resources for the future generations. Sustainable fashion is we can adapt the sustainable fashion. Sustainable fashion is about meeting today's needs while ensuring that the way we go about meeting those needs meet future needs, as well as sustainable fashion is also about benefiting the people involved throughout the fashion supply chain, from farmers to consumers to everyone working in the end of life facilities such as recycling factories. Why sustainability is so important? It's really simple. It's really simple. Fashion has such a significant impact on communities around the world, right? It has also a huge climate change footprint. And if we're going to tackle the existential threat of climate change, the fashion industry needs to urgently address its unsustainable practices. If we don't start to address the negative impacts of the fashion industry, we're not going to have an industry in the future of climate change in the future. Okay, climate change is here and it's accelerating. Over 100 billion products are being pumped out of factories every year, and many of those products are made from synthetic materials and frankly take hundreds of years to biodegrade. But we don't have hundreds of years to address climate change, so we need to tackle unsustainability in the fashion industry these days. What we are going to do in our set of laws to achieve the goal. First of all, leaving the fast fashion doesn't mean that we are living completely living the trends, fashion trends. And one of the way to keep our environment safe is that we can thrift our clothes, like secondhand clothes, not try to buy more clothes or purchasing it over and over again. A thrift store, reuse it to save the environment from the fashion pollution to the world. And secondly, okay, that's it for the model. So in the status quo, clothing company, okay, let's just say H&M, right? They only recycle 10 to 15% of the used clothes and old garments. Then the rest of it is thrown to developing country or get disposed. I will elaborate more about how the waste of these fashion to the developing country. First of all, the harm of fast fashion. The fast fashion industry is one of the world's top 5 polluters. The majority of clothing is made from synthetic materials like polyester, which can take 20 to 200 years to decompose. As what I have already said earlier, the process to create synthetic threads are full of toxic chemicals and use lots of water. Plus, most dyes are also toxic and end up in the waterways. Then you have the farmers who grow the cotton who use toxic pesticides to keep it growing, which is terrible for the ecosystem and health. Not to mention, do you really want to wear something which needed so many chemicals to produce? Then you wash your clothing and microplastics fill your environment. Basically, the entire process of a fast fashion garment has little or no regard for the planet and people at all. Brands, the impact to the developing country. Most of those brands in the fast fashion are from the developed countries, right? Like H&M. Imagine how many clothes other companies have thrown to the developing country. It doesn't mean that the developing country would literally reuse the waste of the clothes. Like we in the developing country deserves more than that. Brands that are considered fast fashion often put a middle-low price to reach bigger interest for their customer in developing countries, especially in the developing country, especially. But we do have to realize what's behind those low price. These facets of everyday factory life have created and continue to cultivate a climate of fear and intimidation to maintain workers' submission and achieve fast fashion's high production demands. How fast fashion meets the bottom line. It is important to understand how gender patterns of workplace mold treatment are situated in current production networks. That is, what is it about the fast fashion supply chain that makes workplace abuse against Asian garment workers, for example? The high demand of trends that once change every 4 seasons now turns into almost 52 kinds of trend per year and grown dynamically and unpredictable. The brands, of course, doesn't want to be left out with their competitors, and that's the main reason workers behind them in the factory are really pushed and overworked, but still only get minimum payment. Beside that, the cost production of their brand have to be minimalized because they are selling it also in affordable price, right? The majority of clothing is made from synthetic materials like polyester. How is it? Some are more sneaky about the process and act like you are getting a superior product because the price is higher when actually workers are still being paid unfairly and the materials are toxic. These are typically the mold gems that Urban Outfitters, for example, GAP and Victoria's Secret for the brand example. Then you have your Targets, and you have then to the department store, to several unethical brands. In reality, most brands you find today are part of the fast fashion problem. There are a lot of brands who are doing it right and trying to change the industry for the better, but it's hard to come by, and for the average consumer, isn't always possible to seek the good brands out, then be able to afford the product. That's all from me. Thank you. We are very proud to propose in this motion.
Thank you. The Prime Minister spent 7 minutes and 25 seconds, 7 minutes and 25 seconds. To respond to the case of Prime Minister and also to open the case of opposition, I called the leader of opposition. And for the reminder to everyone, please turn on your camera during your speech if it's possible, and state your POI preference before you start the speech. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My voice is clearly?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, today we will talk about the motion about live fast fashion. Okay, here I will explain about what the meaning of fast fashion. Fast fashion also allow the process of clothing design, manufacture, and distribution to offline or online stores to be complete in a very short time. And here I will give the positive effect if we always use the fast fashion in our life. Okay, here the passion of Indonesia creative economy is strongly influenced by the development of the fashion industry, which is able to contribute around. Currently, various fashion trends continue to develop, one of which is a ready-to-wear clothing, which cause a lot of the concept of fashion chain and the production cost. Fast fashion has big contribution to the state revenue in Indonesia itself. Fashion industry contribute around 80% of total state benefit. The money itself will be used to tackle environment problem in the country using the tax. And here, if we always use the fast fashion in our life, we can improve the country economy. Actually, if we can take a positive side from the influence of fashion development, the late fashion, and here fashion mode will make the teenager who wear them more confident, creative, and unique. This because they feel that they are different from others. Children who are able to assess fashion from a positive perspective will judge that fashion is their own personality and do not have to follow the current trend and can be yourself at it. Of course, it has a big influence on his identity, right? And here, whether is a positive effect if we always use the fast fashion in this word, we can able to save. Teens who can think positive do not need to buy branded fashion product that seem expensive because they are able to create their own style and become an unique person. You don't need to buy a lot if you can buy cheaper ones or buy wholesale ones. They just need a creativity of their own until finally their fashion becomes beautiful and good, like the most important unique or in character. So here fast fashion has many positive effect and can make the our country to improve. And for the economy, we must can improve the country economy here. And so we are from opposition not agree if the live fast fashion in this world, because I think fast fashion is many benefit in this world, in the special in the especially in the economy of our country, because we know that if we want to buy product or clothes, we can buy with the price is not expensive maybe. And here um i I even say about the fast fashion give many benefit and so make the improve the country economy. So we are for opposition will use the fast fashion in this world and not live fast fashion. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The leader of opposition spent 3 minutes and 45 seconds, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. To extend the case of government, I call the Deputy Prime Minister here.
Wait a minute, I will rearrange my speech.
Okay. Please turn on your camera if it's possible.
Okay, wait. Am I audible?
Yes, very clear.
I will set the timer first. So if you want to have the POI, you can just unmute yourself. And I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So first, I will have the rebuttal setter for the opposition team. So based on the definition of this motion that I already mentioned by my first speaker, we already know that under this motion, fast fashion giving a lot of harm. We see that this fast fashion as a harm program that are harm for the environment. Why would I say that? Let me explain more in my extension. So we already know in our current situation, fast fashion has become habit of life for people who live in urban areas. In every country, in urban areas, all of them are used to living with fast fashion, which is trendy like this, which is true even though without our realizing it, we live above the laws of nature. When in fact, we live in this fast fashion, which makes the environment even more damaged. Why is that? First of all, we know as my first speaker definition explanation, he mentions where in our status quo today, many well-known clothing brands do not use the eco-friendly system in their economy, where one of the example is H&M, which use 15% of their clothes to be recycled, while the rest is thrown away for the developing country, which even though we know famous clothing brands like this certainly follow a trend where they produce clothes quickly and very agile in accordance with the time. As we know, trends change according to the times, and these trends change rapidly, and thus a garment production must produce their clothes in accordance with our current trend, where the brand will produce a lot of clothes, and that's a lot of. But what is the questionable is trends will continue to change over time. Then what if the clothes are no longer in demand due to the trend is faded? What will be done with the clothes? Where are they going to take them? That is the one important question where our team provides that the fact. One of the example famous brand is H&M. They use clothes are very much sold in every country. In each of these batches, only 15% can be recycled by them, while the rest is disposed to the developing country. When in fact creates a lot of disease, ladies and gentlemen. With the disposal of use of clothing in developing country, we see that developing country look like trash country, where according to the most data of waste the world is taken by developing country, where the waste thrown away by well-known brands from developing country. Therefore, Leonardo DiCaprio, as an environment activist, feels that it gives harm for the environment, especially for the developing country. And beside that, another impact here is we know that this fashion followed the trend, as I explained earlier. Then the trend changed rapidly, which means that the production of this clothes must produce clothes quickly, right? Because how do you see from the side of the workers who are in the clothing right industry? What do they get? Is there any harm to them? Which is where the fact that say the workers in the fast fashion industry are paid very cheaply without guarantee work safety and decent wages. Even though this fashion followed trend where the trend changed rapidly according to the times, while the workers are forced to continue producing clothes without stopping according to the current trend, where they are paid very cheap wage and does not guarantee they're safe for their work and their wage are not the same. From this, you can see that this fashion not only provides harm to the environment, but also from the workers who are among to the people who contribute to the brand. Do you ever think what the worker feel? They don't have enough money or labor, and usually this workers come from unprivileged families where they have to work to meet the needs of their families, but instead, with this fast fashion, the situation worsens. Workers are forced to continue to work continually to produce the clothes, and the other hand, they don't get rest, they don't get work safety guarantees, and the worst thing is they don't get a decent wage where the wage are very cheap even though they work very hard for this brand. Besides that, on the other hand, fast fashion has many bad effects for the environment. And what was that? The first of all is the fast fashion industry usually use cheap and dangerous textile dyes, which can cause water pollution and put human health at risk. Which is where we know that the fast fashion is also sold as a very cheap price, so that their quality is taken with cheap material. So that this brand must take cheap and dangerous material, which are risks for the environment. For example, here are the textile dyes used for this clothes are obtained from their materials, which is cheap and dangerous, which is very very risky for the water pollution. With this dangerous textile, the dye cause water pollution and even puts the organism in the water risk. And not only that, it's also dangerous for human who eat it, and that is so that their health is disturbed. Besides that, one of the ingredients, namely polyester, is one of the raw material used by the fast fashion industry, which comes from fossil raw material, so that when washed, it will cause microfibers that increase the amount of plastic waste. And where plastic waste in the world has accumulated too much in the world and cause a lot of pollution, ranging from soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution, which actually increase its speed for climate change to continue, ladies and gentlemen. Besides that, the most important thing here is fast fashion also cause reducing the number of animal population, because most of them also use animal skin as raw material, and of course, it will be mixed with various chemicals like snakes, tiger, or other animals. So we can see that here, the fast fashion that not only provide harm for the environment, but also harm for animal. The environment itself is being damaged by this industry because it creates a lot of pollution and increases climate change. While on the other hand, otherwise, this industry also provides harm to very dangerous animals. They claim that the money from the, and now I want to move to the rebuttals for this, for the opposition team. They claim that the money from the fast fashion are given to environment. If you think if the fact the workers are underpaid and the materials are already making pollutions and harm the environment, how could they contribute on saving the environment from their income if they still can't pay their worker properly, like what I said before? And also, you must, and about the wash clothes, there are fewer clothes in the dump. The fast fashion industry released many new designs in short period of the time. This also makes people tend to be more consumptive and buy new clothes, and so they don't go out of style. As a result, old clothes are just thrown away or peeling up. Meanwhile, research shows that 90% of clothing worldwide is made of synthetic material that are difficult to decompose. Rather than buying new clothes in fast fashion that dynamically change, it's better to recycle and apply a circular economy by the thrift shop. The benefit of thrift shop, those clothes are considered clean because it was before they sell them. Lower class can still avoid it, but still the quality is still maintained. You can see the difference, right? The waste clothes from Zara and H&M are put in the sacks. Meanwhile, in the thrift shop is still maintaining their quality. So rather than buying new clothes in fast fashion that dynamically change, it's better to recycle and apply a circular economy by the thrift shop. And that's why we of the proposition really proud to propose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy Prime Minister spent 7 minutes and 30 seconds, 7 minutes and 30 seconds. To extend the case of opposition and also to respond the case of government, I call the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
All right, please give me a minute to arrange my speech. All right, I will start my speech in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With living in such a fast world, fast fashion allows for more affordable clothing. The latest trend are sold to the masses. People get what they want and not have to wait around for anything, as there are now so many retailers and brands to choose from, either in store and online, with e-commerce becoming the biggest industry on the planet as the human race has moved deeper into the digital era. With clothing become so cheap, people can get a new outfit each weekend to go out, and sometimes even cheaper than a round of drink in your local mini market. As the first speaker and the second speaker from the government team of the House talk about, talking about this environmental problem, let's first talk about the economy and society. As my first speaker said, that the fast fashion has big contribution to the state's revenue in Indonesia itself, as the parameter that has been applied by the government team of the House, which will be talking about developing countries. In this case, our team will talk about Indonesia. So the money itself in Indonesia, the fast fashion contributes around 18% of the total sales revenue, which the money itself will be used to tackle the environment problems in the country using the taxes. Consider this: when we're having this huge amount of percentage which fashion industry contributes, which is around 18% of total state revenue, if we leave this fast fashion trend, the fashion industry will be dropped to 0% of total state revenue. So it will has no contribution to the total state revenue. So let's think about this: what kind of things, what kind of industry will replace that 18% of total sales revenue? It's not a small number. It costs about billions and billions of rupiah. And when we're talking about money, we're talking about economy. The fast fashion itself, we're entering to my second argument. The fast fashion itself has huge role in the global economy. It employs approximately 300 million people around the globe. It even offers jobs to farmers and workers in the poorest countries itself, which can increase the country's economical value. In Indonesia itself, fashion industry employs about 7.46% out of all the industry available, which is about 1.3 million people. Imagine if we leave this fashion trend, all the fashion industry are in the edge of bankruptcy, which leads to massive unemployment. What happens if there is a massive unemployment happens in our country? This will lead to another big problem, such as chaos, demonstration to sue the government so that they could have job again. This could lead to another damage to the political issues, which we are not going to talk in this session. And when the fast fashion has been rising in popularity over the last 20 years, it allowed brands and retailers such as Zara and H&M, as the second speaker, as the first speaker and the second speaker said. Today's consumer see many advantages in fast fashion. That's why it's so successful, despite it. It is so fun to shop for new trendy clothes every weekly. Fast fashion remains popular because it's practical and convenient. The second speaker from the government team of the House says that the first speaker the second speaker of the House says that the demand of this fast fashion industry is increasing, which can lead to environmental issue. Don't you understand that that is the goal of business, to increase its company revenue? That is the goal of the business, to increase the company revenue. If the company revenues is already increases, it could make such big contribution to the country. So it will be more taxes to use to tackle another environmental issue in our country itself. With clothing because some cheap, it is great for someone who doesn't have the large income, such as students or the youth from the Gen Y and Gen Z, as they can still enjoy the thrill of spending and getting the new things they want or when they want, and do not have to spend an arm and leg on it, allowing them to save in another area of life. Fast fashions give people to be able to use branded fashions, so the money itself would be used for another important things, such as the household needs for the college student. When we're talking about fast fashion, which is really cheap, this is one from another advantages of this issue. So here I am at the second speaker from the opposition team of the House. I strongly disagree about leaving the fast fashion, especially in the developing countries as Indonesia itself, because it is already contributed so much contributions on the sales revenue, which will be used to tackle the environment problems in the country using the taxes coming from the company itself. So I would like to strengthen my argument one more time, that we are strongly disagree about these motions, because when we're talking about economy, we're also talking about the unemployment, which can lead to which can create the country when there is a massive unemployment, which can reach which could lead the country as economy to be drawn back. That's all from me. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Deputy Leader of Opposition spent 6 minutes and 6 seconds. 6 minutes and 6 seconds. To conclude the case of government, I call the government whip here.
Audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, can you please speak a little bit louder?
Okay. Wait, let me move position. Is it clear now? I'm sorry. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, it's clear.
I'll set the timer. I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So brands that are considered fast fashion often put a very middle to low price to reach bigger interests of their customers. Or we all agree in that in developing countries, especially. But we do have to realize what's behind those low price. These facts of everyday factory life have created and continue a conclusive climate of fear and intervention to maintain the workers' submission and achieve fast fashion, high product demand. And little did you know, these brand target the middle to upper class as well. The upper class will also choose these brands for daily clothing. Beside the image, image of their brand like Zara and H&M are really good ones and know why, where you can find any trend there. But the low class people, as could say, really poor people in low economic and underdeveloped country are actually receiving those waste clothes from big brand as well. And of course, it is very poor. It's a very in a very poor quality. You might have here the sustainable economy brand like H&M adopted. They claim that the waste clothes or the out of trend will be piled up in their garments area and be recycled into new clothes. But they can only recycle less than 10% of it. And where does the rest go? The rest go to the developing country and pile up there as trash. Or perhaps, example in our country, it's also passed into the black market, floating on ships and end up in traditional market in sacks. And poor people have no choice than other than that to buy those filthy and low quality clothes. Just because we are poor, we can't. Why can't we receive at least a better quality clothes? These clothes are bringing in sacks and even not washed right away and directly sold to the traditional market and be consumed by lower class people. Doesn't that also bring disease to our poor? And they still have the right to provide good clothing for their life. And I haven't heard any solution uh, from the opposition side of the house toward our worries and problem in that, especially the environment and also for the poor in developing country. And also, we do understand that affording a low price is very promising for the market. That is, the more cheaper it comes, the more people gain to buy it. Even the opposition proudly admit people would buy cheap clothes every single week. Then after, if it's outdated or it can't be used again, it will pile up and be waste and be a trash again, and it's not very eco-friendly. And that really be admitted by the opposition and hasn't been tackled down until now. And brand are considered the brand in this example are Zara and H&M and some like that are considered from international company, not from Indonesia. Company of fast fashion in Indonesia isn't much known, or maybe there isn't any of them right now that bringing up a fast fashion system in Indonesia. So we see here there's no right coming income or some tax for our countries. They maybe have percentage from international company like H&M or Zara and some, but the right forward income will be very little, and it doesn't make any change actually, because we believe the local companies or the local
industry that are making clothes from local brands are very well paying their employees, not like these big big brand fashion from the outside of our country. So there would be no chaos on in they wouldn't be any chaos or like a demonstration to the unemployment because they don't have the industry in Indonesia. The industry is outside of our country. They only build the stores in Indonesia. I don't believe that with our country regulation, our government policy, there wouldn't be any like underpaid workers or unemployment if this system if we leave this fast fashion system because it's not very big in Indonesia. It's big in a developed country. Even if in developed country leave this system and move to thrift shop, the government also have. Do you understand? Like developed country also have a lot of income and very considered wealthy. So if the people would leave this fast fashion that is considered very not eco-friendly and very toxic to our environment, and also the fact that the workers are underpaid, the government can still subsidize these few workers because they are considered developed country. But in developing country, we didn't see any problems toward the unemployment because the industry is not big here. They only sell the clothes and shop in here. So in Indonesia, I wouldn't see any problem or chaos to the unemployment because the industry is not as big as the developed country. We still would like to hear some rebuttals or like a solution toward these environmental problems, and so because we literally rebut the arguments on the income that is coming to fix the environment because it's a total lie because they couldn't even pay their workers properly. Then how could they contribute to the ecosystem or the environment that they already ruined in the first place? Because the more cheaper it gets, the more less quality the materials they are providing, like the toxic garments and also the cotton and also with the coloring stuff. And it happens like 50 two trends in a year. Then that means how many of those um, piling up ruining on environment. We should that's why we see to we as the government see to have to change our mindset on making a more sustainable and a very circular economy, because we have to change. If we don't change now before it's too late and our water are ruined, our people are getting sick and somehow, because it's very urgent to our environment. Because when water are polluted, when people get sick, it's all eventually affect to the country's sustainability and also to the country's economics. So we need some solution from the opposition to provide this environmental problem, and that's why we are very proud to propose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To end the case of opposition, I call the opposition whip. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Before I start to my speech, I will rebut the second speaker. First, I don't think that they pay attention for my second speaker, because my second speaker don't say that 80% is from the fast fashion. It's from fashion industry. Second, she said that she don't see she don't see any effect from from what if fast fashion is leave? What if we leave the fast fashion? Yeah, we don't see it because it's just a probability. It just um probability. It's just something that will happen if it just assume we just assume how if we leave it, and it's not happened yet, and it will be happen if we leave it. First patient, I will go to my argument. Fast fashion has big contribution to the state revenues. It's been they give a tax, it give a big taxes for our country. Then it can be used to manage the how to tackle the environment problem in our country. Second, the fast fashion has a huge role in the global economy. It's employ approximately 300 million people around the globe. It even offered jobs to farmer and worker to the poorest country itself. In Indonesia, fashion industry employ about 7.46%, which is 1.3 million people. And my second speaker has told you the probability how if we leave it make any chaos. It will make any big problem for our country. So leaving the fast fashion is not a good solution for this for climate problem. There's another solution to fix this problem. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll proceed to the reply speaker. The first reply speech will be delivered by opposition. So I call the opposition reply here.
As a reminder, what is my time to speech? How long?
4 minutes and 20 seconds.
All right, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. All right, thank you for information. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. The honorable judges, the adjudicator of this debate for today's motions about this House belief that we should leave the fast fashion. We are from the opposition team of the House are strongly disagree about this motion, and we believe that we deserve to be the winner of this debate motions session. Why? As my third speaker says, that the government team of the House didn't pay attention to the data that we've told them, which is a very failure things to do when we're debating. It is what I'm saying as a second speaker back then is the 18% is coming from the industrial coming from the fashion industry, not coming from the fast fashion thing. Therefore, it has big contribution to the state, which is around 80%. And then the second thing that I would like to ask for the second question, I would like to comment from the government team of the House is that the third between the second speaker, both of them has the same argument. I see no new arguments. They are elaborate. They unable to elaborate another new argument. Unlike our team, as the opposition team of the House, we are able to elaborate and give an exact data about what is happening and what will be happening in the future when this actually happen. So when we're talking about data, it's a very crucial thing when we're debating, and the government team of the House has been misunderstood our data, which is quite a failure thing. And therefore, I believe that our team deserves to be the winner of this motions debate today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, opposition. He spent 2 minutes. So to close the debate, I call the government reply here.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, go on.
Okay, hold on. I'll set my timer first. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. We, as the government side of the House, choose to leave the fast fashion. Fellows, in our side of the House, we focus on the harms of the fashion to the environment. The opposition side of the House focuses on the economy revenue. That isn't really the that wasn't really the case. We understand their assumption. Panels, why we deserve to win in this debate. First of all, the leader of opposition did not manage to respond to our arguments, which on our side of the House we have explained about the harms to the environment, which I have explained to the first, to the second, to the third, did not give any solution to the harms of the long-term impact to the environment. They did not have any solution to that, which we believe we have found a solution actually to that, but they did not respond to any of the solution or the environmental harms that we have that we have managed to elaborate in our Senate House. So because they did not respond to any of that, we assume that the opposition agreed to us in terms of the environmental problems. Okay, if the waste of in our side of the House, we also have explained about the problem of the workers in the industry, but instead the deputy leader of opposition focusing on the revenue and the economic impact that they assume there will be an unemployment, and the 3.3 million people in Indonesia that they limit are from the fashion industry as a whole, right? That means it's not from the fast fashion because it isn't that much progressing, because we don't see any local company that apply to the fast fashion. And about the data that unemployment about the data, the unemployment argument has been rebutted. That has been response that my third speaker have a response to that argument. Because the industry in Indonesia isn't that big, and our government regulations are very clear for each region, like applying minimum payment, so there wouldn't be underpaid work. Our team already mentioned our argument, which my second speaker have elaborate about the status quo, that clothing brands do not use an eco-friendly system in our economy. This engage also to the environmental harms that they did not respond at all. So famous clothing brand, as we said, they limited their speech to the example only in Indonesia, which this can apply to all the society, to all the people. They also have mentioned about how the youth can live up their life because they are able to purchase the trends of fashions trends of able to purchase the trends of fashion. So we do not we believe that that isn't part of the case. The trend changes rapidly, and thus and also the harm of the worker that not got a lot of benefit rather than giving harm, that this fashion giving a lot of harm to the worker by where the workers. Okay, lastly, the opposition side of the house should have bring a solution, or at least a response to our environmental responsibilities, that that's what we really need for us to understand their side of the house. We believe that a reply speaker also shouldn't be playing as the adjudicator here and bragging about speaker roles and speech. That's all from the reply speaker. Thank you so much. We are very proud to propose in this motion. We should and we deserve to win in this debate panel.
Okay, thank you very much, Government Whip. So this is the end of our third preliminary round. Thank you very much to all of the debaters for a very interesting debate. So please give me a minute to consider my decision and also my whole verbal education, and kindly wait in this breakout room. Thank you.